to the FlurrySports Podcast, and welcome back to, one of the final shows of the season.
That's right.
We figured that out last week. 1 week after the Super Bowl will be the finale, so we have 1, 2, 3 shows left.
Correct.
Yep. Math's probably wrong. It always is. I've never been able to get calendars right, notoriously, on the show.
3 shows left, including this one. We have this show. Next week will be after the Pro Bowl. Week after will be post-Super Bowl.
Great. Was not even counting this one, so I was wrong. Perfect. Okay. Zach Bruner, Jake Osmond, you got it. We're at what, 200, 300, 400 episodes in at this point. We got a lot to talk about today. A lot of big games. Weirdly, a weird big sports week. It kind of snuck up on me pre-show. Like, oh yeah, college football championship happened. College football celebration happened. And a lot of things have happened. However, one person wasn't there celebrating for Ohio State. And by the way, congrats, Ohio State. What a hard-fought, earned win. Brian Kelly's upset. That's all we needed. That's really all we're looking for.
Congrats, Brian Kelly.
Yeah, that's true. No one's giving him his flowers, and he's pissed. He recruited everyone on that field, both sides.
Yeah, that's right. He taught Chip everything he knows.
Everything. And so Ohio State wins. Really wasn't that close. Is what it is. Then Ohio State celebrates their win. They go back, had multiple days, celebrates their win. By the way, we need to touch on the Will Howard thing. Don't know why we're talking about. How are you happy about Will Howard? You just did the K-State.
Go Cats.
Well, is he still a K-State player or no?
We own him. We disown him. We bring him back in. He didn't know how to manage the clock, and every K-State fan went, that's why he's not here anymore. Now he's won a national title, and we're all like, that's our kid.
Cats.
Yeah. I think we're proud of him. I think everyone's shocked. Like the other day, for those who don't know, he played for the Cats in like 2021. I was under the assumption that there was like some journey he went on in between there and Ohio State. No, the Cats were like, we're not really into you. And then all of a sudden Ohio State was like, that's our guy. So I don't know. Happy for him.
He was like the top or one of the top quarterbacks in the portal, which is wild to think. Like, he won, I think, Big 12 Player of the Year. He won that at K-State.
Yeah.
And then K-State's like, we're not going to pay you. What are we talking about here? Get out of here. Go see what you're worth. And then you'll come crawling back to us. And for some reason that didn't work. And now he's getting disrespected by draft experts. So what a journey for Will Howard.
Well,
people are saying he's like,
can he throw?
Does it matter?
I don't know.
I don't know.
I don't know if he can throw. Him and Justin Herbert.
Are you saying he should play wide receiver?
No, I'm saying that, is he closer to Daniel Jones than he is to Joe Burrow?
Is Lamar Jackson closer to Daniel Jones or Lamar Jackson?
It's true. I don't know.
That's what people are wondering when they talk about him. But okay, so Will Howard wins. Will Howard's disrespected. Who cares? Ohio State goes to celebrate a couple of days ago, and everyone's partying. Everyone's happy, but one notable person was not there, Jake. One coach did not show up, and when I heard that, I'm like, oh, Chip doesn't care. What's Chip doing?
It's Chip. Yeah, Chip's getting interviewed by Dallas.
I thought Chip was either held hostage by Brian, something's going on, or he's doing an NFL head coaching interview. No. DC, Jim Knowles, not there. We find out later he was told not to go, which is awesome. Why was he told not to go? Because he was mulling over other offers. He was leaving. His wife has family in Oklahoma, probably going back to Oklahoma. Everybody thought, so, hey, take this time. Don't come. Don't show your face. Get out of here. And he says, okay, fine. I think I made up my mind. And while everyone's celebrating in Ohio, he announces he's leaving Ohio State and instead, at the same position, another DC job, going to Penn State. Yeah. Off to Happy Valley in the conference, Ohio State rival. Gets 3.1, 3.3, something like that mil per year, though. But this, as we said pre-show, this is turning into professional wrestling in Players have been doing this forever. But this case, other cases around the country, different sports, coaches are now professional wrestling. And I think we might have Urban Meyer to thank for that. Don't you agree? Give Urban his flowers.
Well, I didn't know we were going to get. I didn't even bring it up pre-show, but that just cracks me up because I had something I was going to bring up pre-show of like, is this Michael Jordan's fault? And that felt the same way to me of like, is it Urban Meyer's fault? You know what? Yes. In the same way that I can't hear a story now where anytime someone's like, Bill Belichick's dating young, I'm like, Urban.
Yeah. So Urban was had his hand up a girl's ass on the dance floor.
That's right.
While his wife was
correct. Yeah.
Yeah.
Fuck it.
Well, his wife was at home babysitting the grandkids too.
That was the
People
worst.
forget about that part.
Yeah, it was the whole thing. That was the worst look of it all. She's like, okay, I see how it is. But here's the wrestling side of it that's kind of nutso. Where this leads next, just like you said, everything's being booked. You know, people get mad when it happens to the Chiefs. But, you know, look where it got us. A good Super Bowl. It's the ends justify the means. Ryan Day's character, since day one, is a little bitch. And it continues. Yeah. I'm not going to invite him to the parade. Check. He's going to Penn State. I do think this could still end up for us with some implications. I'm really worried now where this storyline heads, where it would frick us over the most, is that becomes Jim Leonard.
Oh. I didn't think about that. I hope that's not true.
I just looked at 3 websites, see his name's on all 3 of them as like contenders. Him, Gerard Mayo, and the one I'm actually hoping for, because this is a weird Jim Leonard loop. We get him out, get Jim in, is Jeff Hafley.
Fickle. Oh, Hafley. That's interesting. I was thinking Fickle takes a demotion to go to Ohio State, which is what he wants anyways. I love Fickle. I believe in Fickle.
Yeah.
But he's a fickle bitch. That's what college football is, you know?
That's right.
So go to DC, go be the DC there, and Jim come home. That's what
Come home, Jim.
Come home, Jim. Maybe that's the title. Early, who knows?
That's true.
I didn't even consider Jim Leonard.
Yeah, I know.
State.
I know. Gerard Mayo, I keep doing that, would also be an interesting choice there. Like, I guess the implication he's got to, you know, earn his stripes back at the college level. That fucking sucks. But we'll see. It's going to be interesting who goes there. I also think, listen, odds they just promote from within probably pretty high.
They can get whoever they want.
Nick Saban.
You know, maybe. I mean, that's certainly shoot for the start. Bill Belichick, who knows? Take Steve Belichick. That would be quite the move.
I'll give you one name right now they're not picking. Ryan Day's arch nemesis. Be a cold day in hell before Lou Holtz ends up on that coaching staff.
That's true. That is true. Lou would sabotage the team from the inside, though. I would love that.
It would be good. But we had a parade going on. Notre Dame lost. First off, this is bad. I hate when this happens in sports in general. I do not love the storyline of it's happening with the Bills too. Somehow a loss has set us up for such success. Like, it's like now the cards are all in front of us. The first thing I saw when Notre Dame lost was, well, they spent 1/5 of the money that Ohio State did, and they're not losing any seniors. Here they come. Oh, cool. Should have won it this year.
Right. They should have won it this year, and they need to forfeit some of their money. Notre Dame does.
To the church.
It's not fair. Ohio State gets $20 million for the conference because they're in the national championship.
Yeah.
Notre Dame's not in it conference, so they get to keep $20 million. That's not fair. You can't have a conference with God and not share the wealth. Like, you can't be like, oh, we're independent, we're in line with the Lord and Savior. And then when the offering plate gets passed to you, you can't be like,
whoa,
not today.
That's some good Catholic references there.
Thank you. And peace be with you. Before we go any further, I need to know if this is true and if Sammy is still in the chat. Sammy says, first off, beloved brothers, also in line with the Catholicism chat here.
Yeah.
Pleasure to meet you here. My greetings from Gambia in West Africa. Is that true? If you're in West Africa, let me know. That's sick. That's pretty cool.
It's cool.
Pixar ain't true.
And did you think of Jim Leonard?
Is Jim Leonard there? I just don't want him in Ohio. Anywhere but Columbus, please.
By the way, do you know where he is right now?
Jim?
Yeah.
I assume Flambeau.
So interesting. I found this out in the articles that I was looking on. He has a job, which, figured.
Is he still in Illinois or no?
He's the Denver Broncos defensive pass game coordinator.
Really? That's cool. I guess he spent a little time there.
Yeah, which also, by the way, strengthens my bid for Out Goes Halfley. He strengthened his resume a little bit. Get ready for the big job.
That's so interesting. The whole thing is that he didn't want to leave his family, but he's like, but if Sean Payton asks, we gotta go.
Well, it's like, listen, not in a bad way, but it's like everybody has a price. It's like I've never met baseball fans do this where it's like it's such selective outrage where it's like, of course, that's the thing that gets you riled up. All the Brewers fans in my life, when Craig Counsell, Wisconsin's finest, was like, I'm never leaving. He goes to the Cubs and everyone's like, how fucking dare you? And it's like, yeah, they paid him 8 year. They gave him an 8-year, $100 million contract. It was the most money by like $50 million.
It's the
I'm
same
not
thing
that
with
loyal.
Right. It's the same thing where the Ohio State coordinator. I mean, like he's from Pennsylvania, so maybe he grew up, maybe he has some affiliations with the school, but $3 million per year, it's like you just got to go.
Yeah. By the way, in an interesting update, I'm not sure Sammy knows where they are, but I appreciate the shout out. Yeah, you're listening to the FlurrySports Podcast, and we appreciate it, along with all of our listeners. No
matter what, I'm always going to believe that you are. I'm going to say something that's not probably true, but at the Sahara in Gambia, most likely not where the Sahara is. In fact, I know it's not, but all of Africa is just the plains or the desert,
that's not untrue.
Thank you. That's kind of what the show's based on. Things that aren't fully false.
Speaking of, you know what? Now, the things that aren't fully false. How did I come away from this weekend and go, and this is what NFL media does to us. I'm transitioning to the NFL now. NFL media, because they know there's an initial, not by you, but otherwise a large scale, like Eagles, Chiefs, a little bit. The first thing I heard, I turned on ESPN at 7:00 this morning. First thing is like, you got to give it to the Bills and Commanders. Do you? What? Like, I guess kind of true. Like how the real winners this weekend, Buffalo and Washington. Yeah. No.
I hate that. You're not the head coach. You don't have to do it. Oh, they got a hell of a ball club over there, and we beat them. People always forget that last part, that it's said in silence. It's like, that team is the best team I've ever seen in my entire life. Yeah. And we won. So thank you. First off, you got to give it to them. I always hate no matter what. Kind of have to give it to Washington, though. You got to give it to them. Good for them.
I think you got to give it to everybody but Dalton Kincaid.
True. Tough luck. Because of Dalton Kincaid, and I'm not saying it's wrong, Josh Allen's a bust. He can't win the big one, and that's on Josh. Put it where people are talking about that. I actually believe this now. Throw a good ball.
Oh, it's not a good pass. No.
He made Dalton Kincaid not just stop his route, but come back the opposite direction away from the massive window. He was under pressure. That's fine. That's why it was a bad throw. Josh Allen has an excuse for it to be a bad throw. Let's not pretend that was a fucking dime, because it wasn't.
No, it's incredible that he kept the play alive. It is irritating, because I think the worst part of watching a Chiefs game is they do this where it's like, I've never had a team sneak up on me where it's like, oh, there's 3 minutes left on the clock and the game's over. Like, I've never had that happen with other teams, but it's like, oh, it's that third down was actually the entire game. Oops. Yep.
I really love the Chiefs. I love everything they're about. I hate some of the players, but I love that I hate them. I'm not a Mahomes guy.
Yeah.
Love Travis, obviously. Love Creed Humphrey. Love Trey Smith. I mean, their offensive line is awesome.
We should have done this ahead of time. And so maybe you didn't see this, so we could still play the game. But going into the game, we should have been like, Chiefs win. What random song from the 80s or 70s is Travis going to turn into like a pump-up speech? Did you see what song he called out?
Yeah, make a little love.
Get down tonight. What he does this
wants
thing.
The crowd to get into it.
Correct. Has he ever referenced that before? Everything's
No.
It's so funny. He watch this speech, everybody, if you haven't, but he gets up there and he goes, you know what we always say? It's like, what are you? And I was like, all right, here we go. Beastie Boys. Wrong.
Yeah, it's always Beastie Boys until now. I will say though, people are grilling Travis because like, oh, the crowd didn't even get into it. They did.
Yeah.
But it was delayed. It was the perfect because like make a little love. Then he stopped and then no one said anything. And then everyone somehow in unison was like, get down tonight. Like everyone in unison was like, oh, he wants us to participate.
Yeah, there it is.
Awesome.
But I think everyone did the same thing, which is like until he got to make a little love, I was like, I don't know where he is. Like, because he also didn't do the you gotta fight. Like he didn't hold it out like that. He literally monotonely said, you gotta do a little dance, make a little love, and then it's like, oh, okay, then we're singing. Now I understand.
Yeah, there needs to be cue cards. There needs to be something on the big screens to help everybody out.
But can he tweet out the day beforehand, KC and the Sunshine Band? Can he just give us a heads up?
Yeah, just give us a band name. That's it.
Yeah, and by the way, I saw someone tweet that not an original idea. He did drop the ball a little bit because he should have gone out there and been like, we're breaking out of our cage. We're doing just fine. Got to take Mr. Brightside back.
That would have been good. That would have been funny. But yeah, I mean, but he usually keeps the same song for the season, right? So if the Chiefs win, I think he's going to stay on it.
But they only have one game left. I agree, but like, could we?
He's got the parade.
A little sooner. Oh yeah, it's going to come up 8 times these next 2 weeks. He's in it now. Sure. Yeah.
He's going to have a KC the Sunshine Band tee at Radio Row. There's going to be so much.
Get down tonight. But I like the choice, by the way.
No one's criticizing the choice. It's just, I like that it's his gimmick now.
Yeah, I know.
It's not a great gimmick, but it's his gimmick.
I like that and it's telling because I could tell his favorite wrestler is The Rock. Sometimes you just have to change gimmicks, especially when your last one gets over. That's when you got to move on. Yeah. Everyone knows SmackDown Hotel. Great. Now I'm going to talk about sticking my boot up their butt.
What's the next one?
Pie
you got to build it. People forget that one. That's a good. It's not really a deep cut, but we need to bring that back. I need the final boss to say that. But yeah, everyone's upset by the Chiefs. Everyone thinks it's rigged. People shut up. And by the way, people who just, interested to get the chat there. People who despise the Chiefs and be like, oh, they cheated. Oh. They're the same people who are like, Roman Reigns is the greatest WWE champion of all time. It's the same people who love all of these cheaters. Who cares? And
like, yeah, the best teams, listen, they have the ball the most. And I would love to, it's so nerdy, but because it's not a fun answer, the Chiefs get more calls because they hold the ball a lot and they have the ball in the last 2 minutes of the game.
And they're leading a lot too. It doesn't matter. Like roughing the passer penalties, whatever. Maybe that he gets a little bit more, maybe not. And if he does, who cares? Stop criticizing the catch thing. Oh, the ball hit the ground. Yeah, it did. And they had possession. Like that one is not debatable. Everyone's missing the point there. If one player had the ball and it hit the ground and it didn't move, it's ruled a catch. 2 players had the ball, hit the ground, didn't move, still labeled a catch. That doesn't change. So now who had the ball? Tie goes to the offense. That's how it's always been. I disagree with that. I would love it if tie goes to the defense, but that's not the case. Tie goes to the offense, ball didn't move, that's a catch. Oh, Dalton Kincaid got the first down. Did he? I don't know, because the weird angles make it
Yeah.
like he may not have. And then Josh Allen, I think for sure didn't. I think Kincaid got closer than Josh Allen did.
Correct. I agree completely. It also, listen, it stinks. You can't have any wasted possessions against the Chiefs. It stinks. It is what it is. Like, I hate to be like Josh Allen was like, he was literally just too rough the first drive. It was over when they didn't score right away.
He came out with nerves. Like he almost threw a pick twice on that first drive.
Can't believe he literally to the same guy. The second one, I'm like, you got to be ready.
And the whole week, by the way, everyone's talking about how Josh Allen's matured. Josh Allen's not doing those boneheaded plays. Remember when Josh Allen used to do quarterback sneaks and then he would pitch it? So glad he doesn't do that anymore. And then right away, he tried doing that again. Like, oh, okay. We see how this game's going to go.
Yeah. And it stinks because they played a really good game. They even got the Chiefs to make some mistakes, which I'm like, oh man, they might get them.
And there was a bunch of fumbles. I think 5 fumbles in the game. The Bills recovered every single one of them.
Yeah, that was an interesting stat. Like, they still never lost the turnover battle all year. Yeah. I'm like, how many times has that happened and you don't win the Super Bowl? That's kind of crazy.
Is it predictable, though? Yeah.
I mean,
everything happened as it should. And sometimes it's all you need. When you shoot a ball, I love a good bank shot, right? I love it. But when it swishes where the net doesn't even move, like it's just so like everything went exactly how it should go. It's so great. When you mow the lawn, if Dan Shuby's listening, this is for you. And the lines are perfectly in line.
Yeah.
They're just, in his words, just lasers down there. It's perfect. Everything's great. So the Chiefs lose in the regular season.
Yeah.
Okay, great. What's going to happen? If you look at the Week 12 NFL Power Rankings on FlurrySports, I wrote specifically, the Chiefs lost to the Bills and there's still the first ranked team in the NFL. Yes, because this is going to happen. And that's not to pat myself on the back. It's because sometimes the most obvious thing, the most predictable thing is just beautiful when it happens.
When also, like, look at the Patriots regular season record against Peyton Manning and then their postseason record against Peyton Manning.
Yeah.
That's what those good teams do. I was that first one in hindsight, and it'd be my criticism of Josh Allen is to give him credit in the first one. Not the only reason they win that game. One of the reasons they win that game is because that 4th down touchdown run he has is irrepeatable. That's insane. They didn't draw that up. He just ran everybody over. Like, and I almost think that last drive, my criticism of the Kincaid throw is, where was that the 3 plays before? Like, we were playing uber conservative.
True.
Like, all right, check down. Oh, shit.
We can draw pretty clear lines here, too. The first time the Bills and Chiefs played this year, Dalton Kincaid didn't play in the game. He was out. And then this time he lost them the game. So I think they should probably get rid of him because he's the worst player on the planet.
I will say I do love a mini storyline. And Super Bowl, I'm going to say it. We have a little bit of storyline going of who's going to cost us. It's the tight end. And Travis costing them the Super Bowl. Mark Andrews, Kincaid, or Dallas Gillef, whatever his name is in Philadelphia. I never get his name right. Oh, shit, wasn't even close. Damn. Wanted to say Zach Ertz, but no, he hates them now. Bitter rival.
He does. Yeah. Good weekend from Zach Ertz, though. Got to give it to him.
Good weekend. Yeah, and I mean, here's a transition for you. Only one thing happened this weekend where I'm like, yeah, the NFL is rigged and the refs are in on it. And it didn't happen in the Kansas City game.
Okay.
What happened at the goal line? Why are we calling out do-overs? Why are we giving warnings to people?
Hey, don't do it again. We'll give him the touchdown. Don't make me do it.
It's crazy. And it's like, don't show Andy Reid a new trick.
Well, that's true. But it's also just like we're going to call a personal foul. Like, why? He's not doing it he's not doing it to be a dick. He's trying to stop the unstoppable fucking play.
The offense is doing it.
Yeah. Give them the personal foul. That's not fair.
That's what I thought was happening at first. And I was like, that's kind of fucked. But both are bad and they didn't do it. But it was like, what are we doing? We're just like resetting over and over.
to be fair, if Washington somehow is playing 4D chess here, I think more than anything, it showed how insufferable and how like terrible to watch that play is. Like, you watch it once, okay, fine, and you get a Super Bowl or a touchdown, keep it moving. But if I have to watch it 5 times in a row, it's like, this isn't football. This is rugby. I'm fully on side now. Let's on their side. Let's ban it. I liked it before.
I think this will get it banned. Sincerely,
yeah, I think so too. It's crazy
because and it's such a loop. Like, or they'll put in something for like short yardage plays at the end zone. They have to tighten that up. Like,
I don't know how, but I'm very torn on like whether we should
25.
I guess the only way to somewhat ban it, and I don't think it really like hurts it too much. I think like you can't have someone lined up directly behind the quarterback or something to push. Like, I feel like that, because they've already banned an offensive lineman can't pull. I think it's worded as pull a player into the end zone. So if you're behind them, you can push them through. But if you're ahead of them, you can't grab them and pull them in. That's a flag. So maybe they just get rid of all. But you can't get rid of all assistants to get yards, because then that gets rid of the awesome, the running back stayed up and the offensive lineman come and push them in the middle of the field or something.
I hope they don't do that, but that rule has been debated in the past. So
I think that's what they're going to end up doing, just because they love to ruin football. I think that's probably where they start at least, and then a year after they'll back it up.
Yeah, here's what you can't do. Like, it's ridiculous to like punish. My thought when it was happening, oh my God, Washington should jump this call every time. It's like, we're here. It's a missionary that can't happen in the middle of the field. Like, they're not going to abuse that. Like, it's just because we're here on the goal line.
Right. Exactly. Because there's no punishment.
Yeah.
Unless you award them the touchdown. And then if you don't jump it anyways, they're going to score a touchdown. So.
Well, and here's the worst part. I almost think that's like, it's not like they did it and it worked. Like, Philly did it so they wouldn't do it. And I'm like, oh, call the play.
Well, here's the thing though. If the refs have a quick trigger finger though, and be like, touchdown, like they don't do the warnings thing, then it would be a team touchdown and a player doesn't get credited for it. So then we have to start getting into the debate of how selfish is the player. Because if Jalen Hurts is putting his body on the line and not getting credited for touchdowns, maybe the Eagles start not running it.
Yeah, that was the one time where I'm like, Claire's like, what's happening? I'm like, this is a made up. Like, we don't know. This is a made up scenario.
The refs have done it before. I think I'm not sure if they've ever done it in the NFL. In the Cotton Bowl in like the 50s or 60s, I think they had a play where it's like, well, what happened was there was a big score. Someone's running by themselves, and someone from the sideline came and tackled them. It just came off. They came off and tackled. They're like, it was an obvious going to score. That's a flag. We're going to give you the touchdown automatically. Yeah, so that's what it was. It's the same rule. It's just it looks very different in those scenarios.
100%. And this one looked weird because it seemed instigated by the offense. Like, I'm like, that feels a little weird. But what else were they supposed to do? It was also, which I kind of like they're trying to also prevent Philly from just using it to kill the clock.
Yeah.
I think they said 2 minutes went off the clock during that like first and goal.
That sucks. I don't know the best. Maybe that's a show, or at least an article or something on a FlurrySports. We'll figure out how to fix this fucking play.
Yeah.
With some rule.
I do love when random NFL rules get to the spotlight. It's like, this year's the first time I've seen it 5 times. First time I knew that, like, you can 2 feet in bounds doesn't have to be different feet. I've seen that a bunch this year.
I think I just got hit with a fucking freight train. This is what's going to happen. And I hate it. This is just me refocusing our attention. Okay. I don't want us to lose sight of the ball here. Keep your eye on the fucking ball. If the NFL's rigged for anything, it's this thing. If anything's rigged, you're right, Jake. If anything's rigged this weekend, it's this. And it's because now everyone's like, we got to make a rule change. We got to make a rule change. We got to make a rule change.
Oh.
And now we're talking about the tush push, and we're going to forget about the onside kick and the kickoff.
Yeah.
And now we're going to have a fix for the stupid rule. And everyone's like, yes, we accomplished what we wanted to with officiating this offseason. And then we're going to roll into the preseason week 1. We're going to be like, son of a bitch, we forgot. We forgot about the kickoff.
They did fix the kickoff. That's such a good call by you. I was also thinking like, this will be like, if the NFL is coming together and they're rigging a story. I'm sorry, I lost you for a second. I don't know if you saw that, but my screen went dark. But it was scary. Anyway,
Edibles cracking down.
Whoa, yeah. Here's what I'll say, which is, if the NFL really wants to rig it for the Chiefs are going to get an onside kick in the Super Bowl. They're going to call it. They're going to declare. And then the NFL will go, see, it works.
True. That would be a very like telltale sign. Like, okay, we see what you're doing. At that point, I'll be upset.
Yeah.
Don't want that. I want a hard fought.
Yeah.
I guess we can. Who are you cheering for in the Super Bowl? I assume you're cheering for the Eagles, right?
Correct. Eagles. Yeah. Eagles.
I don't know. I like the Eagles. I like the thought of Saquon not getting a Super Bowl ring, though. For me, I know I'm alone.
You and Joe Shane.
Okay, great. And Mara.
Yeah, true.
But like, I don't want any of these teams who pay for a big money to a running back to be like, see, and that's the finishing thing. Like, I don't like that.
I do. I kind of like reshaping the market.
Well, I don't like, that's fine. Saquon deserves the money. Fine. And I think that's the last addition a team should make, is paying a running back. Like, that's the cherry on top of a good team.
Yeah.
That's how you do it. You're not paying a running back on a team to go 10-7. That makes no sense.
100%.
But so whatever. Fine. Saquon can get a ring. I still can't tell if I like the idea of the Chiefs three-peating or not. I think I do. I think I like history being made.
So I was going to ask about that. So I might as well, this is where I was like, did Michael Jordan ruin this? Because my thought was, it's not the reason people dislike the Chiefs, but the main reason is the Chiefs are really good. But I do think some of that is the Michael Jordan LeBron argument of, for years, it was like Michael Jordan's clearly better than LeBron. And then it got a little closer. Not saying it's closer. I don't want to get into that, but
you're right.
Yeah, it got closer. And then the thing became, well, talk to me when he's got 6 rings. Like it became a number, which of course everyone was like, we've never talked about Bill Russell. No one's ever brought him up. One, like, what do you mean? That was the thing. And then since then, it's like Brady. I hated when that happened. Like, it was always like, Brady's not the GOAT. And then it was like, frick me. Now we can't even talk about it until someone gets X Super Bowls. Like, it became like, oh, the combo's over. And I feel like that's a post. Like, again, no one does that with Terry Bradshaw. No one's like, what a G, he's up there. But I think post 90s, post Jordan, I feel like we're a little like, oh, it's got to be the metric. So I don't know if I'm into like, once the three-peats happen, it's done. Like, this is the greatest NFL team ever.
I like the idea that you're debating which dynasty is better, at least between Patriots and Chiefs, though.
Well, I like that we're debating that, but I'm hearing it now. Dan Orlovsky's going to come out the next day and be like, debating it. Only one of them won 3 in a row. Yeah.
I just have so much respect for Andy Reid. Like, I want him to have this after so real. Much. He has his career is a tale of two halves for sure. Like, he couldn't win anything. Like, great regular season coach. That's awesome. And now it's like, this guy's winning too many Super Bowls. Fuck this guy. Like, he deserves it. I also like, people hate the Super Bowl matchup. I understand. I like it because teams want to mimic what obviously the teams winning do, right?
Yeah.
I like that we have 2 true head coaches. Like, they're not, Andy Reid's a play caller half the time. He's not a full play caller, even though a lot of people just say he is, maybe less than half the time. And then Sirianni's not a play caller at all. We need more actual head coaches in the NFL, not just glorified play callers. And I like that. Hopefully, not with this coaching hire that we just did, the coaching carousel that just happened, but hopefully starting next offseason, we'll start getting true head coaches. Pete Carroll was hired. That's good. But maybe like a Gruden coming back, or just people like just stepping back. Like, yes, I was a great defensive head coach. Yes, I was defensive coach and whatever. Coaches who are play callers and head coaches, just it doesn't work at all.
It's the worry about Ben Johnson.
I mean, a lot of them. You have to be a true leader. That's why Dan Campbell's successful, and it is what it is. People are giving Dan Campbell zero credit for any of the offense and defense and all of that, especially offense. People forget he's an offensive coach. A lot of his impact is on the offense, and it'll stay that way. But he's not a play caller, and he's got his hands in all of these different buckets and all of that, and that's why the Lions are successful, because there's a true leader there.
It's also
tried to do it, but obviously the Jerry effect didn't work.
True. This is going to age terrible. No, I found a way to put it in context. Is going to make it better. Like, it's a lot easier to find another Ben Johnson. One, literally by his name, but two, a lot easier to find another Ben Johnson than is find another Dan Campbell.
For Detroit, you mean?
Yeah, and like just that system. I think people are like, oh, you lose the play caller. Dan Campbell doesn't have anything. How many coordinators did Bill Belichick go through?
Quite a few.
Yeah. And I know Bill called plays. Like, I'm not saying that, but it's like,
for sure,
there, every offensive genius he had went somewhere else and was a terrible head coach.
Yeah. And you're seeing it with Andy Reid and offensive coordinators as well now.
Yeah. But just credit to you. Like, it's not what makes a team. I will say, I think in a couple weeks, when the matchups we could have had, and not even that, most people were rooting for the Bills over Kansas City. So like today, that's what they wanted. This is the better matchup for sure.
I think if we had to say what was the perfect matchup in the playoffs, I think we said, I think overall the perfect matchup would have been Lions Chiefs, just because it's first Super Bowl versus three-peat.
But in typical everything's booked fashion, this got booked in August.
Yeah.
And in August, this was the move. Like, what a perfect 3-year, like the Chiefs going for a three-peat, having to beat the Eagles. That's kind of great.
It is great. And
it's also very WWE not to pick the more exciting option.
True. It's also WWE to run it back. I mean, there's a lot of things here.
They'll want it again.
I hope it doesn't get slept on. And I understand we went through it a couple of years ago, but Andy Reid versus the team he's the all-time leading wins leader for, that's really cool. I love that.
And I mean, this Eagles team, I was thinking about this of like, this would get me fired up. Like, the Eagles, just look at this team is the most babyface team in the league if you just ignore their freaking fans. Their fans suck.
And head coach.
Yeah. But I don't know. He's kind of fun, and he's a lovable a-hole way.
I like him, but if you take the fans away, he wouldn't be shouting "fuck you" at the fans either.
Well, and that's what I'm saying. If the fans are heels, he's face. I'm in on him. So
that's true.
All I was gonna say is, to your point of like what the league should emulate. One, something we talk about on the show all the time. You just don't build all lines like these two teams do. So it's like, hey, league, what's up? Like, and GMing in general, just like two stacked teams
that go for it. The Eagles are insane. They just somehow in the draft, they get the steal of the draft every time. They do trades and they go all in on free agency. The Chiefs, look at their offense. You got DeAndre Hopkins first year, Marquise Brown first year. Kareem Hunt technically first year of the team, coming back, I suppose, but it's just all over. Like, we'll take 1-year rentals and we're going to go. You can't just rebuild through the draft and do that. You have to, once you're good, you can rebuild up to a point and then you have to spend money and go.
Well, and here's the only shame of this matchup, because I really think it also puts in context, like, this would be the perfect story in the NFL. It's in hindsight, the only time this year I've been like, damn, a bummer Jason Kelsey retired.
I know.
And of course, like them losing, getting one more crack at it this iteration, because people will forget that, like the Sirianni Hurts Eagles didn't win the Super Bowl. It was the Wentz Peterson Eagles. So a lot of those bases are gone, except for Lane Johnson. So it's, can't stay off the juice. Still can't, But but this team deserves, and like they went and got AJ Brown. They went and got Saquon Barkley. Darius Slay. Like, you name it, they've just done what a team's supposed to do to be rewarded. I think, listen, if the Chiefs win, they earned it. It's also, in all of it, I think hopefully when he retires, we give credit to somehow we're never turning on Travis. Like, like for all of this team's a juggernaut or whatever, that dude's awesome. And
so good.
Same with Andy Reid. Like, are they ever heels? It's hard to be.
And Spagnuolo is insane.
Yeah. My favorite defensive play caller. I guess we're blitzing. It's my favorite. Yeah.
His blitzes are crazy, dude. But we got good Italian defensive coordinators on both sides, though. We got Vic Fangio, who's possibly the best defensive coordinator in the league. Spagnuolo I love Spags just because he coasts for 18 weeks. And then we get to the playoffs, and all of a sudden he starts trying. And he pulls everything out. Like, he didn't run those blitzes against the Bills the first time. And then now in the biggest play of the game, he has a weird corner blitz that comes in and, wins the game. Like, that's the reason. If he didn't bring that blitz, Josh Allen makes the throw and they win. But he's the reason they won that game.
Well, and also now more and more teams are doing this, but there's a reason you don't blitz randomly on first down anymore. Like, it's like you save your most exotic blitz package for third and mid or fourth down, and
people also get into like this Madden sense where, like, yes, you can mix up these calls and stuff like that, like different package. People forget you have to set the other team up.
Yeah,
and you can't do that without having all of that experience, and just like it's a chess match. And when you get to the highest of high levels, like Fangio and Spags, they have like setups going like multiple years now. Like, they have these certain blitzes that are their bread and butter that they always do, but then they know that. And it's like, okay, this year we're going to do this little wrinkle at the most important time. And they're just smarter. Like, I'm not sure if you listened to like the I think Romo was in the Chiefs game, right? Or was he on the other one?
Romo was in the Chiefs game, correct. Yeah.
Like, he was saying, like, in the pre-meetings or whatever for the game, like they know Josh Allen's going to sneak it on the left side every time. And then that's what happened. They were ready for it. And then he did it again. And then he did it again. And then he did, like, the Bills didn't even try to correct it. They didn't even try to mix it up. And the Chiefs knew where he was going every time because they're just a smart, well-coached team. And that's how the Chiefs cheat, I guess. They're just well-coached.
To me, this all feels very Dodger Yankees. Like, when they match up in the World Series, there were matchups I rather wanted. This is the matchup. These are the two. I think. Yeah, I mean, especially taking the conferences into account, these are the two best teams. I think if it's because it couldn't get a Ravens Chiefs Super Bowl or whatever you want to say, but so we get that. I also, my last credit was going to be, it feels like, at this point, the Chiefs GM just like, oh, we did it. We got Patrick Mahomes. I didn't have to do anything else. They also make every right decision. Like, paying Chris.
So do the Eagles.
Got a lot of shit. Yeah. I was just saying, I think the Eagles at least get a little credit because they make big splashes. The Chiefs, it was like a few years ago, the thing was like, oh, they're going to have to choose who not to pay. And if they did that, they picked right every time.
A big reason for that, and it helps when you're winning three games in the playoffs every single year, so you have all that extra money. Yeah. But like Mahomes' contract, the way it's structured and the way he's so team friendly, like, it just makes everything fine. Like, there's no doubt if you pick you want one quarterback in the NFL to lead your team right now. He's not the most talented, in my opinion, but he's the best winning quarterback is Patrick Mahomes. Like, and then he's not getting paid as the top quarterback, and he's structuring his deal, willing to move it around to make it better. He had a 10-year contract, which is stupid.
Yeah, him and Travis both left money on the table. Well,
Yeah.
basically, no shade. Basically, everybody but Chris Jones kind of left some money on the table.
Right. But also, like I said, like the
Yeah.
game checks for the playoffs, and there's no,
Yeah.
I mean, Travis and Mahomes aren't hurting for sponsorships. They're not
No.
doing, you win 3 Super Bowls in a row and you
Yeah.
never have to pay for anything ever again.
Do you think they win? Is Travis done?
I don't think so. I think he's very close, but I don't think so. I think he's got another year.
I didn't, and now I'm like, you almost can't beat a 3-peat. A 4-peat's great, but it's like, you did it, you broke the record. I wonder, and like you said, it's more the sponsorships and everything else. He just doesn't need it.
I think they
Things
will
are going
have
great with Taylor. He doesn't need anything.
True. You don't reference KC and the Sunshine Band and then hang it up. Like there's going to be a different band reference to walk into the darkness.
And like I always say, get down tonight. Goodbye, everybody. We'll see you later.
I think the Chiefs will have, like, I could see them draft. There's a few good tight ends in this draft. I could see them drafting one, playing behind Travis for a year, figuring it out, and then Travis goes.
Yeah, or signing Mark Andrews, and then he never makes another mistake ever fucking again.
Kyle Pitts.
Yeah, true. That's a better one. Yeah. Henry Hunter. Oh, look, he's finally the dude.
Right.
Yeah. No, those are good things. Let's get to the roundup, Zach. Yeehaw.
As we always do at every show, let's get to the roundup.
The rest. There's one story I want to end on. We got 10 minutes on it. Should I have seen Jimmy Butler coming?
I think yes, but what do you mean?
Here's my reaction. Jimmy Butler, in case you haven't followed, but it definitely suspended by the Miami Heat. Again, for a list of, would I say mysterious behavior? Like, I don't know if I can articulate all the bad things he's done this time around.
But it's a chicken or the egg situation here. Is he doing one thing because of this, or is it this because of the one thing?
Yeah. And here's what I'll say. We'll have that conversation. Like, is this Heat's culture? Is he right to be acting this way? All I know, can we have some apologies for the Tim Thibodeau Minnesota Timberwolves? Because it was like he did this in Minnesota. Everyone's like, you have to know how to manage a superstar. Okay, cool.
Uh-huh.
Pat Riley can't fucking do it. So what are we talking about?
The Minnesota exit was so funny. just
making Cat cry.
Making Cat cry, whipping the starters with the 3rd and 4th string, just talking shit about your own. It was so funny.
Yeah.
I wish it didn't happen, but it was so funny.
It was our moment, but yeah.
I thought, yeah, right. We could have won something. Now Tibbs sucks, but I thought you're going to give credit to something else. And that's people kept saying, why are we bringing you down as Haslam back again? And this shit didn't happen with Haslam there.
No, it's true.
He was signed. He took up an active roster spot and no one knew why. He sat on the bench every game, had the best seats in the house, and were paid to sit there. But then all of a sudden, now he's gone, and Jimmy Butler's not showing up to practice. He's not getting on the team plane. He's practicing dribbling with Aaron Andrews. Not Aaron Andrews. I did that again. Who is it? Who is it?
Sorry, Rachel Nichols.
Rachel Nichols. I'm so sorry, Aaron Andrews. I don't know. This is, I mean, you said this before the show. Maybe you should explain this, but this is an Aaron-led Ben Johnson situation for me. I can't get away from it.
So true. My motion. Oh, we'll do it here. Okay. A motion, if it passes, if it's seconded, it carries. Motion that Ben Johnson and Aaron Glenn change names.
I pass. Yes.
Yeah. Motion carries.
Whatever.
Dude,
motion carries. Whatever I'm supposed to say.
Ben Johnson in a yeah, it's the first time to it. We'll work on it. In a vacuum. Listen, not a white-black thing. This time it's a white-black thing. Ben Johnson not being Aaron Glenn and Aaron Glenn not being Ben Johnson. That's crazy.
It is a little crazy.
When Ben Johnson showed up to the Chicago Bears press conference, I was like, God did it again.
They switched spots. Why did they do that? That's not legal.
I was like, Ben Johnson, when I saw his face, I was like, I really thought you were the defensive guy.
I agree with that. I agree with that. And by the way, I was writing down, I'm so sorry, insert name for the title, and I switched them again. So like I delete it when you're talking.
Maybe we should switch Aaron Andrews and Rachel Nichols again. That's what I thought you were referencing. It's like to give ourselves credit. A week ago, out of nowhere, we brought up Rachel Nichols and Jimmy Butler, and now Jimmy's pissed.
Sorry, Jimmy. Yeah.
When's the last time he had a little one-on-one interview time with Rachel Nichols?
Yeah. So are you saying the Heat need to bring in Rachel Nichols? What do we try?
That'd be my suggestion. Well, one,
okay.
The Heat should have done this a long time ago. The Heat really should go back to the bubble. It's like they're good times.
That's true. People aren't saying that, but you're right. Yeah. We should bring the bubble back. Honestly, why isn't the NBA Cup held in the bubble? Fuck it.
Sincerely, is it the last time I cared about the NBA?
The bubble or the cup?
The bubble is what I meant.
Okay. I think I'm the same. The last time I cared about the NBA, TJ Warren was dropping 40 in the bubble.
Is that right? Or are you thinking about TJ Mann?
I'm thinking about TJ Warren. TJ Mann came in for a Kawhi. That was not in the bubble.
Oh, is that not in the bubble? Because Rudy Gobert hates that guy. We don't talk about that enough. He fucking hates TJ Mann.
So do the Clippers.
It's true. They really
Terrence Mann. I don't know Terrence Mann's middle initial. It might be TJ. I don't know.
I'm on that. You said this before the show. Let's get it. What do you basically think? Listen, if you're suspended so long by the NBA, you should have to go to a certain team.
Yeah, I think if you're suspended, if you're a problem child, whatever it may be, I think, you can clear your name. We'll wipe the slate clean. You have to go to the Pistons and make an all-star team. And I think this should carry through all sports. I think if you are, I guess Deontay Johnson would be the NFL example this year. He went to 3 teams this year and was a little bitch in all of them. You got to make a Pro Bowl as a member of the Browns or the Jags. Like, I think that's what all these teams should do. I think that's across the sports. That's how we fix it.
His middle name's Stanley. Anyway, I do think it's a good idea. Listen, it's what we did to Ben Simmons. Kill enough time.
That's true.
Your career
is working. Working.
What I do love, I love when patterns become apparent on the show, because I felt so seen and called out last week when you were like, every playoff idea I have is basically, can we make it the college football playoff format? Or it's, I want the BCS back. Always. Yeah. Every idea you have. And I love it because you're always consistent. You're like, every sport should do this. And it's right, because you do think every sport should have relegation.
I do. I think it makes it fun.
It's so consistent. If only there were teams we knew were bad, and when you're bad, you go to them. There's a punishment for being bad.
Yeah, people need to be held responsible. I want winners in my league. If you're not going to try to win, then get away. Like, you're just hurt. You're only as good as your weakest link. One bad apple spoils the bunch. That's how I take those idioms through everywhere in my life. That's what it is. Everyone needs to try.
What's the idiom you reference the most? Because mine, and I've done it since college, I use this idiom a lot, and I don't think I've ever gotten it right.
Okay.
I don't know if I've ever used "when in Rome" correctly.
Oh.
But I use it a lot, and I use it as, why the hell not? When in Rome.
I don't know what we were talking about, but I'm almost positive there's a FlurrySports Podcast episode called "When in Rome."
Oh, there he is. We've had this conversation before. Fuck. Time's the circle.
True. I don't know my most. I wish I could type into Grok or ChatGPT to take a look back in my life, because I'm sure there's one.
Don't do Grok. If you type in Grok, what's Zach on the FlurrySports Contest most used idiom? It'll be like, I don't know, but Jake's pretty cool.
Yeah, I know, motherfucker. So dumb.
So biased. Here's the thing with the Jimmy Butler of it all, okay? What I don't quite understand in the NBA in general is this is how you know your season's too. There's no pun. How is this not impacting more things? This is like barely news.
Yeah, it truly does not matter. This is, I think, the third time he's been suspended by the team this year.
Yeah.
And it does not matter for anybody. It doesn't matter for Jimmy Butler. It doesn't matter for the Heat. Doesn't matter for the league. The league's not stepping in.
Mm-hmm.
Like, nothing matters. Once NFL's done, we will start to care. But right now, who cares? Is the NBA playing? News to me.
And by the way, the fact we have time to discuss it this week means one thing and one thing only, which is it's Pro Bowl week.
Yeah. Yeah, not the best week for football. Last Saturday was the first Saturday we didn't have football since August.
Yeah.
That was sad. And now this Sunday, you expect me to watch the Pro Bowl? Maybe I'm going to catch up on Oak Island. I don't know. Something's going to happen.
We'll be rewatching Traitors. I'm hooked right now.
I know I would like that. I haven't watched any of it.
It's funny because it's a little bit the movie thing, right? It's like people
it is. Right.
Traitors season 2 is 100% that for you because it's like, yeah, watch it when you want. Literally your favorite dude ever, CT. Like,
I love CT.
Is the main character of it. So what are you gonna do? You'd like season, you gotta get on season 3 because Wes is on it.
Oh, Wes is my second favorite guy.
Yeah.
Maybe my favorite, but Wes might be my favorite. He's a little snarky. I like that.
Wes is my favorite character. Now it's a Traitors pod. Sorry. He's my favorite person on Traitors right now because he's the first person I've ever heard this on Traitors. I got that one wrong. But he's on to the next one. He had a theory. It wasn't right. And he's like, I didn't like her anyway. They like voted someone out because Wes was like, I really think it's her. He's like, oh well. Whoop-de-doo. Here's my next idea.
Good. I like that. Keep shooting.
Well, I will say, and now Wes is coming back into it because one of the Traitors had a big plot. Everyone fell for it. Not Wes. Wes goes, you know who would do that? Traitor. And it's such a bad theory, but he's right. You got him.
What do you want him to do? If you get you don't need to show your work. Get to the answer. Mr. Mac, I told you this about a decade ago. Who cares about showing my work if I get there? And that's what Wes is doing.
I don't know if I've told this story on here, but as long as you're here showing your work with Coach Mac, I've for sure told you this story, but for the podcast listeners, our math teacher, the week I was gone, I believe for a competition he was coaching me. I think I missed class due to an academic decathlon thing. Oh, yeah. So I hope I said thing and not sport because it's not sport, but I was missing for that. And he took that class period to hold up my piece of paper, Mariah Mauer's piece of paper, and said, one of these is how you should show your work. One of these is the writing of a 5-year-old. And that one was mine. And I was like, first off, I got it right.
Yeah.
What are we doing? Yeah. What the hell?
Who cares? If I catch a touchdown running the wrong route, is it a bad play? No. Everyone's going to be happy about it.
Have I improved my handwriting since then? Yes.
Every time I have to write something on paper, I have to talk myself up. Yeah. You can do this. It's going to work.
It's so real. All right. I have one last thing to end on. If you have any, because this is a 30-second take. I saw it online, but I'm co-sponsoring it. The best thing I saw in sports this week, Pete Carroll got hired. We called it out last week. I just wanted to give a little round of applause for Pete. And because we didn't mention it last week somehow when we were talking about him. I love that he followed Jim Harbaugh to the AFC West. I saw that going around online of Pete Carroll's not going to die until Jim Harbaugh does. It's like, oh, you're in Stanford? Cool. I'm at USC. Oh, you got a job in the NFL? I think the Seahawks look pretty nice. I guess I'm coming out of retirement to coach the Raiders.
That is true. What a division that is. Andy Reid, Jim Harbaugh, Pete Carroll, Sean Payton.
Arizona. Gannon.
No,
wrong.
No, I named
it. Fuck me. Wait.
Jim Harbaugh, Andy Reid, Sean Payton, Pete Carroll.
You know what I just did? I jumped back to 2008. I was like, Seahawks, 49ers. Yeah. No,
that one too. But yeah, that division is insane.
No, that division.
The Broncos have money to spend.
Yeah, apologies. Now they're on the right one.
Tom Brady's there for some reason too.
Yeah, and he hired freaking Pete Carroll. Yeah.
Marshawn Lynch was at the press conference. That's great.
I know. That division, yeah. Because honestly, to stick on the Harbaugh thing, Chargers brought him in and they were like, all right, we're really going to compete. We're going to make a drive. God, everyone's doing the same thing. Like everyone's like, we're going to be the second best team here.
Yeah.
That's going to be a lot of wasted money for literally, 2 out of 3 teams.
Yeah. In my mind, I'm like, oh, this is going to be the division to put, 3-4 teams in the playoffs, but they're so good, they probably won't.
Well, the Chiefs are going to have to start losing more games. Maybe they will. Like in years past, they've won closer to like 12. So maybe that'll happen
this year.
Again.
Everyone's talking about how this team was like way worse than other years. They were just so dominant this year in terms of record. I do think they'll go down to around 11, 12 wins next year.
Yeah. And it's like the Raiders. I mean, if the Raiders are like 500 next year, Jesus Christ, what's Pete Carroll doing? Because, they should be bad. Who the hell's going to be their quarterback? So
lot to fix. That is the thing. Like once the Raiders are good, it should be when Pete's like 76. Like it's not going to be soon. He's already the oldest coach in the NFL now, probably close to NFL history.
Yeah, this shouldn't have any. I think he is probably he's for sure the oldest coach in the league because he was when he was there last time. I don't know if he's oldest coach ever.
Right, he is now. I think he's close to ever.
Yeah, it's still Pete Carroll. Pete Carroll's the oldest coach in NFL history. Yeah.
Crazy. Doesn't seem like it.
Oh, wrong. Sorry. Of course, it's Romeo Crennel.
Oh, you're right. Who's the oldest coach right now, not according to age? Who feels like the oldest coach?
Yeah, because it's not Pete Carroll.
Yeah, not Pete Carroll for sure.
It's a great question. I'm going
for whatever reason. I feel like Doug Peterson was very old this past year.
He graded
Jacksonville's aged him a lot.
Yeah. Also, sorry, I forgot I was on the podcast. Sorry, I did the blowing wrap thing into the microphone. Jesus Christ, my bad. That's why we're award nominated.
That true. Yeah. Can't wait to find out the results. Couple months away, I think. Maybe soon. I don't know.
Whenever that happens. Yeah, it's the league got real young, real fast. So now I'm like, who feels old at all?
Mike feels old for some reason.
Yeah, Mike Tomlin doesn't feel that old, but when I think of John Harbaugh feels older than Jim, which isn't true.
For sure.
Who's the Browns guy? He feels old.
Stefanski does feel old. Poor Stefanski. He did something wrong in his past life.
Yeah.
To be there.
Also, the guy I kept thinking of, not a head coach. I was like, who does this guy coach for? And it's the special teams coach of Pittsburgh. I was like, who's
that guy? He's pretty old.
He's old. He doesn't head coach anywhere. I'm trying to catch it up, but well, now it's Brian Schottenheimer. He feels the oldest.
He does. He kind of does. Yeah, the league's actually pretty young. I didn't even realize how young until.
Yeah.
Also, Shanahan feels pretty old.
Yeah, Shanahan feels old. McVay feels old.
Yeah.
He's probably like 42 because he started so young.
He might be younger than that. Like he started. I think he got the job when he was 33. Maybe younger than that even. He got the job super young. Maybe 30. Might be the same age as I am.
No, he's how old do you think Sean McVay is?
No, I think he got the job when he was 30. 30 or 33. I would guess he's like 38, 37.
He's 39.
Okay. Yeah. Been there a while though.
It's like you thought he got the job when he was 21.
It's kind of the way they talk about it. It seemed that way.
He's got a He's out. He's when he started.
Oh, why are we not saying Andy Reid? He kind of feels like.
Oh, but he's so young at heart. I knew there was an obvious one. I was literally like, there's a clear Tom Coughlin out there that I just can't think of.
Andy Reid's been in the NFL since Bart Starr was ripping it.
Yes, it's clearly. Let me look right now. Is Andy Reid the second oldest coach in the NFL?
100%. I'm not even sure if there's a close third.
Well, this will be good because it'll tell us ranked oldest to youngest. Okay, so Pete Carroll. First off, how old do you think Pete Carroll is?
I think he's 73.
Pete Carroll's 77. Wrong. Oh, sorry, I did. I was thinking of Romeo Crennel. God damn it.
Okay. One more time.
He's 73. You nailed it. Damn.
Okay, cool. 77 Romeo Crennel. That's insane.
How am I getting them confused? Okay, so
it's an Aaron Andrews, Rachel Nichols thing.
I don't know. Literally, Pete Carroll is the oldest NFL head coach ever now because he's older than Romeo Crennel was when he was last a head coach. B,
wait,
there's a higher.
Stop. Is that right? We just went through a whole thing that you said Romeo Crennel was older.
Yeah, and I think Wikipedia lied to me. I think it basically told me Romeo Crennel's older now. But if Romeo Crennel is currently, listen, man, that one I was just reading off the internet. I know I didn't. Okay, Aaron Andrews. Listen, I don't know, man. I looked it up. He's 77 now.
Okay. Well, if he's 77 now, then Pete's for sure.
That's what I'm saying. Yeah, because I just took it at its word before, and now that I'm looking at it, that can't be right. I will say, and this is how old Pete Carroll is. There's a bigger gap between Pete and Andy than there is between Andy and the next guy.
Oh, really? Okay. Andy's what? Probably like 65.
Andy is 66.
Okay.
So that's a 7-year gap. Right behind him, I continue to be wrong. Wait, is that right?
I'm trying to think of even who it would be. McCarthy doesn't count. He's not employed.
John Harbaugh.
Is John older?
John is, I was wrong on that. John's 15 months older than Jim.
Okay. He's what? He's 60 or so?
62 is John Harbaugh's about to be 62. Jim Harbaugh 61. And then was Mike McCarthy. Oh, sure. This guy's way older than I thought.
Oh, I think you're going to say way older than them. I'm like, oh, God, what are we doing?
No, sorry. Right in there, tied with Jim Harbaugh, Todd Bowles.
Todd Bowles seems pretty old. He was an assistant for a while.
Yeah, and Sean Payton, all the same age.
Oh, Sean Payton. He feels like the oldest.
Yeah,
completely forgot about him.
Dan Quinn. That's an obvious one. He feels old with his backwards hat.
Who?
McDermott is 50.
Who feels older? Kyle Shanahan when he puts on a flat bill, or Dan Quinn when he puts his hat backwards?
Shanahan. Because of who he's dating.
Is Shanahan dating somebody?
Yeah, really young. He's married, but there's a big age gap. That was like a thing a few years back.
He wants to be Belichick so bad. It's sad.
He does. It's so bad. But he does have a big penis. We found that out that one off season.
What?
No,
did Jerry Jones say that?
No,
or
they
what?
covered that on. Now I'm just retreading things because they covered this on the New Heights podcast. It was like going viral because the coaches, this was last year, they did their like, here's all the head coaches of the NFL photo shoot. Sean Payton went viral because you can see his bulge. It's pretty big, and everyone was like, Jesus, Sean, like, good for you. But
Sean Payton, not Payton or Shanahan?
No, Sean Payton.
Payton, okay, interesting. Do we want to go out on that?
I don't know. Can you say something else? I feel like I got 6 things wrong in a row. I feel like I'm passing the ball. I gotta have someone else shoot.
Gotta tell you, my brain's in a pretzel in terms of coaching ages at this moment. We did a lot of circling back. Congrats to Pete Carroll for seemingly being the oldest.
And Romeo Crennel.
And Romeo Crennel for being 77 now, which is great. That's awesome. Okay, so what do the Raiders do from here? How about that? The Raiders, I feel like, are they the biggest project in the NFL? I feel like they are. It might not be true, but I feel like they're a bigger project than the Jags.
I think they'll fool you. I think you're probably right, because no one believes in probably the most valuable parts of the Jags and like the parts of the Raiders that are good. It's like Max Crosby's unbelievable, and it's like they have some good guys, but you know,
it depends, I guess, on where you think the Jags are at. I think they probably should blow it fully up, and because I don't believe in Trevor Lawrence, but
correct.
Liam Cohen, scumbag, is coming in there he's for sure coming in there to fix Trevor Lawrence. He's not coming in there to do anything else. The Raiders are at least at the point of, okay, let's build it from the ground up. The Jags still have to tear the house down.
Yeah, I think the only thing to add another layer of confusion is pre-Pete Carroll, when they signed it in, they were in the rumors to like get a veteran quarterback. They were like getting thrown around as like, we're not going to draft a guy. We're going to be in the Sam Darnold hunt. That weirds me out because they feel, I guess, not in a good place, but they feel like in the most safe, traditional place of like, great, we're bad, but we're like set up for future success. Let's draft well. Let's restart.
I don't know how they do that though.
Yeah.
Like, I don't know how the Raiders would do that. Like, it's not like, okay, we have anything figured out. We just need a quarterback. They probably have the least talented roster in the NFL.
They should fully rebuild, which is why the rumors we've heard on them are the weirdest, especially now. It's like, but how long does Pete Carroll have left?
That's the question. That is the question. In my mind, a decade. He's running around at practice. He's throwing the ball for scout team, which is insane. If I did that, fast forward me in 5 years, I don't think I can throw a football. My whole arm would fall off. And Pete Carroll's doing it at seemingly 95, I think is what we discovered when we did the math through everything else.
Yeah.
So they have to draft a quarterback. Even if there's a chance everyone's going to try to Mahomes / Aaron Rodgers it, where maybe they sign Sam Darnold and draft a guy. I don't know. But
yeah, or like, are they in the weird Russell Wilson sweepstakes? Yeah, like, do they do
Russell
that?
Wilson, Kirk Cousins.
Yeah, true. Jimmy G again. Trey Lance. Trey Lance is gonna go somewhere and do something.
Trey Lance feels like the oldest quarterback in the NFL.
Yeah,
I think he might be 23.
Oh, yeah. This feels like the Niners are just gonna keep him, but it's like technically Brock Purdy.
That would be very wild if the Niners move on.
Yeah. I mean, it doesn't feel like they will, but I guess they could. Here's the only thing, and this was the more respectful way to say, how long does Pete Carroll have left? Sincerely, though, do you bring Pete Carroll in the rebuild?
I think they have to, right?
Oh, or are you you've got Tom Brady and you got Pete Carroll, and I guess we're just going to go get a bunch of free agents and kind of start halfway.
Unless Tom plays.
Listen, it's never a no,
He's the owner, so I think he'd be willing to take a minimum deal. Could you imagine Tom Brady at like 1.6 mil?
Thrown to Travis Hunter.
It's not bad.
At 6.
Gronk comes back, give Gronk a minimum deal.
But Gronk still enslaved to Tom Brady. No one would hate that more than Gronk. God damn it. I'm legally obligated.
He has to. He has to do anything he asks of him. We'll go on this question because I think this is an interesting one that maybe at some point people will start talking about this offseason, depending on what these two teams do. Let's say, because the last two Niners quarterbacks kind of are both free agents, right? We're talking about Brock Purdy, and then we're talking about Sam Darnold, who was just there. If Sam Darnold's contract comes in cheaper than Brock Purdy's, would you do that if you're the Niners? because you know what Sam Darnold is.
Yeah.
Darnold knows the system, so you don't have that layer of risk. I think that'd be very interesting if they do that little switcheroo.
I think if it's that close, oh God. What's
And
interesting,
who gets a bigger contract too? I think Purdy gets the bigger contract.
I agree. And I think I would do the Darnold move only because I was going to say, how much do you give credit to Brock being younger?
Right.
But objectively, this sucks. Brock's less healthy.
That's true. I'm going to look up their ages since that seems the theme of the show at this moment. Okay.
It's not
how
a huge
old do you
age
think?
gap.
How big is the age gap, do you think?
Well, years drafted isn't going to be as telling as I think the actual age is. So I'm going to round down a bit and say I do think it's 4. I think it's a 4-year difference.
Darnold's 2 years older.
God.
27 versus 25.
What's the gap in their draft years? Is that also only 2 and I'm just misremembering?
Darnold 2018 draft and 4 years. So then Purdy was 2022.
Oh, okay. So I got the years right on the draft, but they're just
Purdy
close.
played a long time.
Yeah, correct. Makes sense. Randy's coming in with the questions. Randy, these are good. We might get to these next time, but appreciate you engaging in chat as always.
Yes.
But I'd still go. I think Darnold, if the price is right. Someone's going to overpay for Purdy. Might be you. Might be the 49ers, not you. But
I would not. Don't put that on me.
Yeah, sorry. But I don't know.
I don't know if the Niners are in a position to overpay. Their whole roster is constructed where it's like, we have the cheapest quarterback in the NFL.
They would love Trey Lance back, right?
No, I think
you don't think so?
Trey Lance. No, Shanahan didn't want Trey Lance the first day.
True.
He didn't want him drafted. But this whole roster doesn't work if you pay your quarterback 25 plus mil.
Yeah, that's true.
They're in such a weird spot. Because you can't pay McCaffrey that kind of money. You can't pay. They just paid Brandon Ayuk, so now he's broken off. You got Deebo Samuel, big money. You got Trent Williams, big money. You got Nick Bosa, big money.
You know who feels like they'd want if there was a weird trade that could work out on all this, or if the Steelers decide to go a different direction? That seems like a Justin Fields, like, let me whisper to him, he doesn't have to do too much landing spot.
I think
Drew Lock, Justin Fields combo.
I think Drew Lock would for sure work there.
Yeah.
I think Shanahan's system works so well with a mobile quarterback, and he refuses to do it.
Correct. It's been what he's done so far. You know what he might do?
Trey Lance would have been unstoppable in this offense, in my opinion, if they actually coached him.
I think I've just thought of a mobile quarterback that would work. And I won't say why, but everyone at home will know. That's right, Daniel Jones.
Okay. Have an idea. But yeah, I think he is mobile. People forget. I think that's a decent call. Andy's been learning the Shanahan system, I guess, technically for the final, 6 weeks of the season with O'Connell.
He's going to be somewhere. Like him in the 49ers organization isn't like a terrible idea. I do think they're going to go for one of the top end guys. I think that'd be a bad look to not to.
I agree. It's an interesting situation. I think that's going to be one of the more fun storylines of the offseason. There's some good free agents, and there's a lot of teams who need quarterbacks. And the whole thing is, this is not a great quarterback class. Why wouldn't you pay the money to get a quarterback who you at least feel is a proven, legit NFL talent? Somebody should offer Sam Darnold, Brock Purdy, people like that money. I don't know if they will.
It'll be interesting if anybody thinks any of them are proven for different reasons. Like,
agreed.
And why do Brock Purdy and Sam Darnold feel more like locks than Russell Wilson? I don't think that's true, but it feels that way.
I agree. And Justin Fields is the least proven out of all of them, and I don't know if that's necessarily true either.
Yeah. Kirky's going to get to play somewhere.
Yeah, Falcons they're doing a bad job bluffing. They're like, we're willing to bring him back as a backup if we can't find a trade partner. We're not cutting him. Okay. We'll see.
See if that works. I know. But hey, thanks everybody for listening to go out on the question, Randy. I do think the Eagles can beat the Eagles. Anybody can, they can, you know.
I mean, tale as old as time.
I can.
Can't beat yourself. So, you know, they do it too much though. If anyone's going to beat himself, Kellen Moore. The dude looks like a thumb, and he sucks at calling plays. He will for sure beat himself.
I do think the Chiefs can beat the Eagles. And now, Randy, you got me thinking. We'll talk about this next week. Does Andy Reid call a tush push?
Oh, fuck. I'd run it first down.
Yeah, because all I heard this
tone.
week, Patrick Mahomes doesn't run QB sneaks. Watch me.
That option play, man. Not fair. Can't be doing that if you're Andy Reid. Like, we'll talk about it next week. Okay. Randy, appreciate you. Join a little earlier next time. 5:30 Central next Sunday. We'll see you then. Goodbye.